And I would like to officially welcome everybody to the start of our session. We are here today for a Conservation Fellows networking event. My name is Christina Emmerich, and I am one of the hosts of today's session. You can see here with all of the logos on this slide that we'll be hearing from 6 different conservation fellowship and leadership programs, which is super exciting. And we have people calling in from all over the world. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for giving your time to learn more about these different programs. We are excited to connect with you, to answer your questions, to have some discussion. So welcome to everybody. This is where we're headed. So a few pieces of housekeeping. You can see I chose a fall theme for the slides. Here in the US, we have fall coming up, Halloween, so you'll see some fall decorations. This meeting is being recorded, and the recording is going to be shared with everybody who registered for the session. We had over 300 people register, so even if you're not here today, you're watching the replay, we hope that it is valuable for you. Please mind your mute button. We've been on lots of Zoom calls, so it's minding your mute is great. And if you can have your video on, we would love to see your faces if this is an option for you. In fact, could we just take a quick minute, and if you're able to turn your video on, to just say hi to everybody from around the world? Hello, hello. I see lots of people waving.
Hi.
Amazing.
Hello. Hi.
Great to see you.
Hey all.
You can keep your videos on, but if you need to turn them off, we understand. Hi, Lucila. Great to see you. And the chat is available. So we hope that you'll use the chat to ask questions and to also post comments throughout the entire session. We will be sending you a follow-up email after this session is over with information on all of the programs that you'll be hearing about. So you'll get our links, our emails, some program summaries. And also in that email, we'll be asking you for some feedback. So we would love to know from you after this is over. What did you like? How can we improve? And how can we as conservation fellowship programs improve the services, the work that we do to support all of you amazing conservation leaders around the world? We hope you'll take a minute to give us some feedback on that survey. Okay, we have 90 minutes together. We hope you can stay for the whole thing, but if you can't, no problem. You can always catch the recording, whatever you miss. And we are going to start in a minute with an icebreaker to warm us up. Then we are going to move into the start of the session, where we'll hear an overview of the Conservation Leadership Community of Practice, which is the group that made it possible for all of our organizations to be working together to deliver this session for you all. Then we'll hear from 3 different programs, have some time for question and answer on those. We'll have a break. And then when we come back from break, we'll hear from the remaining 3 programs. Again, have some time for question and answer. And then we're gonna move into breakout groups. This is a chance for you to join a group. If you want to learn more about Conservation Leadership Program, you can join that group, or Wildlife Conservation Network, you can join that group. And that is a chance to just keep asking questions and also for us to have some discussion with one another. Then after the breakout group, we will close and wrap up for the day. Okay, here we are. Are you ready for the icebreaker? We are going to take a minute and just ask you to share some information in the chat box. Before we do that, I just want to say to all of you that on behalf of all of the presenting programs, we are so grateful for the work that you do as conservationists around the world. We are so grateful. You all are doing amazing things, especially in the last couple of years in really challenging circumstances with the response to COVID and climate change and many other factors. So we're just taking a moment to appreciate you. And with this icebreaker, we just want to get a sense of how you're doing. We have a global audience here, people working on a range of different species, a range of different habitats, all working to conserve the planet. How are you doing? So the first prompt in the chat, you're gonna take a minute. We would love to know from you.
Hello, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, hi Christina, we can hear you.
Yes, can you hear me?
The first prompt here is, what feels hard about working in conservation right now? What feels hard about working in conservation right now? Go ahead and tell us in the chat. Getting through the government, not enough, getting enough funding, funding. Working with locals, pandemic restrictions. Not getting out, trying to protect species and habitats from the desk. Political will. Watching all of our legislation being dismantled in Brazil, certainly. Funding, community cooperation. Working with poor people who use natural resources as subsistence. Political will. So there are a lot of different, some common themes here. Funding, political will, lack of capacity, funding and expertise. Okay, yes, we know the challenges are there. They are great. And okay, we want to know from you now, the second question. What feels exciting about working in conservation right now? What are the opportunities that you see? What are you looking forward to? What looks good on the horizon? Meeting the community again. Crises are opportunities. Yep. Field work, diversity, meeting people willing to help. So much compassion in the conservation community. Great. Opportunities to make a positive difference, educating children and landowners. New voices and leadership from emerging conservation leaders around the world. Yes. Embracing change and helping folks feel empowered to take control. Collaborations. Innovations. Progress towards our missions, Indigenous knowledge. Wonderful. Thank you all so much for putting your responses in the chat. We, as this community of conservation fellowship and leadership programs, are really want to support you. And we hope that throughout the course of this session today, you will see new opportunities for yourself, for your work, for your colleagues, for your teams that can help overcome some of these challenges that you're facing and can help you realize some of the opportunities that you've listed here. So we really hope that what we share today will be of value to you in the work that you do. And thank you again for sharing that. Lots of great things coming in on the chat. All right, so from here, I'm going to hand the mic over to Leo Curran, who is one of the founders of the Conservation Leadership Community of Practice. And Leo is going to talk us through some of the history, how we ended up here today, to give you some context for our work. So please, Leo, take it away.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Christina, for that great start to this session. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what brought us all here today. It is this group we call the Conservation Leadership Community of Practice, or for shorthand, CLCP. CLCP officially started in 2017, back when we could meet in person in our offices in Washington, D.C., where a small group of us started together to address the three things that you see on the left there. We are a group of fellowship and grants managers that share promising practices so that we can better support you, explore our pathways to impact so that we can understand how our programs not only support you, but can have impact in conservation, and scope and implement collaborative events like this one today. When we launched CLCP, what was exciting for me was that this was the first time that Conservation Fellowship and Small Grants community was coming together with specific goals, visions, and intention to leverage our programs for greater impact. Next slide. CLCP started with just 3 programs. At the time, I was working at the Nature Conservancy's NatureNet Science Fellow. We were engaging with Conservation International's Lou Walton Innovators Fellowship and World Wildlife Fund's Russell E. Train Education for Nature Fellowships and Grants program. And I am now based at the Pew Marine Fellows program. Today we have over 30 participating programs. You can see the logos of some of those groups right here. Next slide. We mostly collaborate through monthly meetings, an active listserv, and spaces to coordinate events like this. So a couple of things we've been able to do as a group: we share resources and opportunities for our networks. So we will share around announcements and call for applications that we can spread out to the rest of our networks, internship opportunities, learning opportunities, etc. We also share resources amongst ourselves so that we are doing better support for you all. We have created opportunities for organizational learning. For example, just this week, there was a question in our group about designing and launching mentoring programs. And within a day or two, there were several resources shared. We have looked deeply at issues like diversity, equity, and inclusion, monitoring and evaluation, alumni engagement, all as a means to apply promising practices and develop our initiatives in the way that's best for you. We have designed a common framework and shared metrics to better understand the impact of our programs. This has involved creating a theory of change or a results chain, whatever language you use in conservation, but for us to best look at how our programs actually achieve our goals, both for developing capacity, but also for achieving conservation outcomes. And finally, we hope events like this expand our reach in conservation capacity development. So we are coordinating with other conferences, with publications and materials to raise the visibility and importance of conservation capacity development. So CLCP looks forward to continuing to deliver engaging programming such as this one today and serve the conservation community. So back over to Christina.
Thanks, Leo. And I just want to give a special thanks to Leo for all the work that he's done to build this community and to make it possible for our groups to learn from one another and grow. So thank you for all the work that you've done with others to build this platform. All right, we are going to move into our program presentations now. And the first program up is the Wildlife Conservation Network. So I'm going to hand it over to Tommy, who's going to introduce himself and tell us about WCN.
Cool. Thank you so much, Christina and Leo. That was an awesome intro to us. And thank you all for joining. I feel the same appreciation, I think, that Christina said before about conservationists around the world and taking the time to chat with us today. So thank you, guys. I hope you can all see my screen. My name's Tommy, and I work at the Wildlife Conservation Network, also known as WCN. We have some familiar people on the call. I think Rosamira is actually here from Project OTT, and this is one of their photos. I'm working on cotton top tamarinds. I had no idea you'd be here, Rosamira, but it's awesome to see you. So I'm actually based in New York, but WCN is an organization based in San Francisco. And we only have 5 minutes to share, so I'm going to try to be quick. But I was told to share a fun fact about myself, which is that I'm the youngest of 8 kids in my family, which I think has prepared me well to network in conservation with tons of different personalities. Okay, so WCN, we work all across the world with what we consider to be our partners in conservation. And I emphasize that word partners because WCN's model is to partner with locally based NGOs around the world who are doing conservation efforts and support them. And our mission is actually to support conservationists who are helping both people and wildlife coexist and thrive. And so here's just an idea of where we work across the world. It's obviously huge coverage, but I'll clarify how we work with different organizations. And so at the moment, WCN kind of has three approaches to how we work with conservationists and support them. The first one is investing or specifically supporting organizations, which we call our partner network. And my job at WCN is to manage our partner network. And so I'll get into each prong, how they all different from each other, but you can think of the partner network as WCN supporting locally based, community-based conservation NGOs around the world who are protecting endangered wildlife. And then the next prong is what we call our wildlife funds. And these are more, rather than supporting an entire organization, just investing in a specific project that is helping endangered wildlife. So that's more typical of like a foundation that you guys might be familiar with. And then the last prong is more about investing in individuals. And so we try to support individual conservationists through scholarships and career support, rather than an organization as a whole or a specific project, investing in them as individuals that we believe will be critical to conservation ongoing. And so I'm going to identify each of these three prongs real quickly and clarify how they all work and how you guys might be eligible to get support from them. So the first one is our partner network. So as I mentioned, this is a network of community-based conservation NGOs around the world. And WCN's goal is to help steward donors in the US to support these locally based NGOs and provide tailored training to each of them. And so some of the services we provide to our partners include fiscal sponsorship if they're not a charity NGO in the US. WCN helps to provide that role and move donations from the USA to these organizations. And we do that through a 100% model. So if someone wants to support Project OTT, for example, which is one of our partners, they can do that and we will pass 100% of those donations onto that organization. We also try to expose them to as many donors as possible in the US. And so we do that through an annual expo event at WCN where we have presentations from conservationists to connect with donors. The next is that we provide training and skill building that is specific to whatever their needs are, whether that be finance and accounting or fundraising or their conservation programs, a whole range. And then we also promote them through WCN's website and social media. And the biggest thing is that we found peer-to-peer support among the network is a huge benefit for our partners. And the last is they're eligible then to nominate staff for our scholarship program, which I'll get into shortly. And so these are some of the eligibility criteria for what we're looking for in our partners, but mainly it's about locally led NGOs that are rooted long-term in the place they're working and protecting endangered species. And so that's a little different from what is the wildlife funds model, which is more rather than just one NGO across an entire species range, providing grants for specific projects. And so I won't get into the details too much, but here are the principles on the wildlife funds. And their goals are to invest across a species range that's in particular danger at the moment of going through extinction. And so we have 5 different funds at the moment, and I'll just go through them quickly. The first, and all of our contact info for each fund is here as well for you guys. So the first is the Elephant Crisis Fund. Next is the Lion Recovery Fund, Pangolin Crisis Fund, which is trying to address trafficking for pangolins, the Rhino Recovery Fund, and most recently, the California Wildlife Program, because I mentioned we're based in California at the moment. And so if you want to get in touch and think you're eligible for a grant from one of these funds, please reach out to any of these directors listed here or to me, and I can put you in touch with the appropriate organization. But these are more typical of a grant for a specific project, not so much about the organization overall. And the last category for WCN is, like I said, investing in individuals. So sometimes this is referred to as the next gen of conservationists. To me, it's really about the current generation of conservationists because I know so many of the folks we're supporting are already doing incredible work. And so there's 2 ways we do this. The first is through the scholarship program. And so if you happen to be pursuing either a master's degree or a PhD degree, and you need support for either your tuition or your living expenses as you're pursuing that degree, then WCN can help you get through that as well. Now, the scholarship program is by nomination only. So you must be nominated by a pre-approved or eligible nominator, which includes our partners, our guest speakers, our grantees, And tons of the organizations you're going to hear from today as part of CLCP, they have the eligibility to nominate scholars. The only criteria mainly for scholars is that you're a local national and be someone either working throughout Latin America, Asia, Africa, or an indigenous practitioner in North America. So if you're interested in that program, the contact is my colleague Becca Stuyvesant, and you can reach out to her at scholarship@wildnet.org. And then the last program, I hope I'm making it on time, Christina, is we're just launching a new career program. So we realized that between our partner network and our scholarship program, there was a bit of a gap where folks were trying to launch their careers in conservation and were struggling to get that initial support that wasn't so specific to a project, right? And so we realized that folks need salaries, you guys need support, and we want to provide three things: financial support to early career conservationists, tailored training for whatever they may need in their career for the next 3 to 5 years, and connecting them with a mentor, ideally someone that's based in the same region as them so they have an understanding of how they navigated their careers in conservation. And at the moment, the career program is limited to the continent of Africa. It's just going to be launched this year. And we're hoping to get more funding so that we can bring this to a global audience. But for now, that's a quick summary about WCN. Those three prongs of where we invest in organizations, project to project, and individual conservationists. So I hope that was helpful. If not, we'll have time for questions at the end of the session. And then I hope I see you guys in my breakout rooms too.
Thank you,
on time,
Tommy.
Christina.
We're doing fine. Thank you. Thank you. And if you have questions for Tommy, please write them in the chat for when we come to our Q&A portion. So we're going to move right along to the next presentation, which I will be giving on the Conservation Leadership Program. So I'm going to share my screen. And hopefully everybody can see this okay. Can everybody see this slide? If I can just get a thumbs up from somebody. Okay, thanks, Janice. All right, so I will be sharing with you all about the Conservation Leadership Program. As you can see, these are really short introductions to the program, so we hope you'll stay in touch. CLP is a partnership between 3 of the largest international conservation NGOs, including BirdLife International, Fauna and Flora International, and the Wildlife Conservation Society. And we have staff who are based at each of these partner organizations. I think some of my CLP colleagues are on here today. If you are, wave hello. And I know that we have some CLP alumni on the call, so it is great to see you here. This is where we get our funding, our donors, our Arcadia, Fundación Segre, and the De Beers Group. We are so grateful for their support. And what do? Our mission is to support the next generation of conservation leaders around the world. We do this through building professional skills, helping them connect with peers, and providing opportunities that will help advance their careers. And here are our primary areas of work. We have our team awards, which is how most people learn about CLP. We have our training program, we have internships, and we also have mentoring for the people who join our alumni network. This is a picture from a CLP training course that we ran prior to COVID. Are there any guesses? Tell us in the chat if you have any ideas where in the world we were for this course. Any guesses? Put them there. But as you can see here, we have been, we've been around since 1985 and have supported 800 team-based projects and internships, which have reached 3,000 people in 100 countries around the world. And you can see here a map to get a sense of where we have supported individuals. We have a global reach. And as I said earlier, most people learn about CLP through our small grants. So if you're interested in joining the program, you would apply for a Future Conservationist Award, which is our first level. It's a $15,000 grant for a 1-year project. And then if you receive that grant, you would be eligible to apply for a follow-up award later on. And then again, a leadership award. So you can see our funding increases over time. And this is part of the CLP model, that we invest in people in the longer term. If you're interested in our Future Conservationist Award, as I said, these are $15,000 grants. They're for early career individuals who are working in low and middle income countries. So we focus on developing countries. And to be eligible, you have to build a team. You have to have 3 or more people on your project. All of the team members have to have no more than 5 years of experience in conservation. That's how we define early career. And at least half of your team has to be from the country where the project will take place. And the project must be led or co-led by a national of the project country. We can only support you to be in one CLP project at a time. And individuals who are currently employed by a CLP partner, so that's WCS, BirdLife, or FFI, we unfortunately are not eligible for our awards because this is an external facing capacity building program. So what do we support? Our projects, they can last between 3 and 12 months. They focus on red list priority species. It should be a new project with a significant amount of field time. We don't fund gene storage or captive breeding. The project has to be separate from the work of a CLP partner organization. And this is just a quick snapshot. If you go to our website, which I'll share at the end, you'll be able to see our full eligibility criteria, which we hope you'll take a look at and reach out if you have any questions. Since we have started, CLP has invested over $10 million in project funding, and our alumni network is amazing. The people that we support do such great work for conservation, discovering new species, establishing protected areas, creating new NGOs, and many and much more publications, supporting the next generation. We have a really great alumni network. And please keep in touch. This is just a quick snapshot. If you sign up for our quarterly newsletter, which you can see on our website, you will receive information from us when we announce our call for applications. Also, if you follow us on social media, you'll get the latest CLP news. We also post a lot of resources there, grants, trainings, conferences, new manuals that are coming out. So follow us on social media for just in general information that can help you in your conservation work. And here is our email. Please contact us if you want to learn more. And I will stop there. And again, if you have any questions, please join me in the breakout room at the end of the call. And yes, thank you very much. I will now pass over to Janice, who's going to talk about the Whitley Fund for Nature.
Thank you, Christina. Let me just share my screen. All right. Hope this is okay for everybody. Yes. Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Janice Law. I'm here to talk about, very briefly, Whitley Fund for Nature and what we do. So the Whitley Fund for Nature was founded 28 years ago, and we are a fundraising and grant-giving nature conservation charity offering recognition and providing training and grants to support the work of grassroots leaders across the global south. By channeling funding and offering training and support, we look to enable in-country leaders to halt and reverse wildlife decline and habitat destruction. We look for people working with communities and those who address human poverty, as well as a range of the social needs, including education, health, and livelihood generation, all the while tackling environmental issues. We are also a global network. To date, we have given over 18 million pounds to support the work of 200 plus conservation leaders that benefit wildlife and communities in over 80 countries. So we have a few funding schemes. First and foremost, probably what we're most well known for are the Whitley Awards, and they're worth 40,000 pounds. Then we have the continuation funding, which are up to 100,000 pounds. And finally, we offer a gold award, which is also £100,000. And the people that we look to fund are mid-career conservationists, so those who have at least 10 to 15 years of experience. We support in-country nationals, those who are backed by locally based NGOs, so championing locally led solutions, because we believe that lasting impact of these conservation interventions are most effective when they're accompanied by community support. We look for grassroots leaders, again, with a large component of community engagement. And finally, passionate leaders looking to preserve species and habitats in areas most in need. The projects that we fund, as mentioned, are across the global south, so in countries rich in natural resources, but lacking in financial resources for conservation. We look for projects that are deeply rooted in science and apply an evidence-based approach so they can demonstrate evidence of previous success. These projects are at the landscape or ecosystem level, and they need to be measurable and scalable and replicable. And they can demonstrate scientific rigor and financial responsibility and sustainability. So our Whitley Awards are our flagship conservation prizes that are worth £40,000 in project funding over 1 year. These awards are highly competitive, and they're presented by our patron, HRH, the Princess Royal, at the annual Whitley Awards ceremony in London. But these awards are more than just funding. So we also offer our winners a week of communications and PR training, as well as networking events. So we help our winners connect to current and potential donors, facilitate possible new NGO partnerships, and helping increase their visibility and media coverage. There's also a significant boost in profile, and we provide an international stage for winners to draw attention to their environmental issues and to conservation issues that they face. After the Whitley Awards week, our winners are better equipped to forge connections and become better communicators. And with this award, they also gain membership to a collaborative network of over 200 alumni. We also offer our continuation funding. So these are grants of up to £100,000 over 2 years, and they're exclusively for previous Whitley Award winners. And they help winners to sustainably scale up and replicate their past projects to ensure a longer impact. Over half of our Whitley Award winners go on to win these additional funding. Last year, we launched our nature-based solutions, which is a new scheme under continuation funding. And so now these are up to £100,000 supporting projects that tackle climate and biodiversity crises in collaboration with communities. And these are on projects specifically on restoring carbon sinks such as forests, peatlands, and wetlands. And finally, we have our gold award, which is our top prize. It's also £100,000, and this is given to a previously Whitley Award winner in recognition of their outstanding contribution to conservation. And so through our laddered funding approach, from the Whitley Awards to continuation funding to the Gold Award, we are giving leading grassroots leaders a sustainable means of scaling their impact. All right, and thank you very much. I will stop sharing.
Thanks, Janice. So I think we have about 5 minutes now to take a couple of questions, and Janice will be helping us pick which ones we'll be looking at.
All right, thanks, Christina. So I see a question here. Regarding NGOs, will they be under CLP supervision? And that's the question for you, Christina.
Okay, great. So if I understand correctly, and if I don't get it right, let me know. But anybody, we have lots of people who work for NGOs apply for a CLP grant. A team can be made up of people from the same NGO, from multiple NGOs. You don't have to work for an NGO at all to be eligible for CLP. But once you apply for the award, if you get the funding, then it's up to you to deliver the project on your own. So you don't officially become you become part of the CLP alumni network, but it's up to the team to take responsibility and to deliver the work. And we're here to support you along the way with training and mentoring. I hope that helps answer the question.
Great, thank you. And I guess I will take this one. The question is it true those who have received grants from Rufford Foundation have better chances to be selected for a Whitley Award? The answer is no, not necessarily. We don't, I guess there's no priority over who becomes a Whitley Award winner. It's irrelevant. You know, in terms of your previous award history, certainly it's great that you're able to demonstrate you've received other funding and other awards, but definitely not a criteria, and you will not be prioritized over other applicants. And here's another question for myself. And the question is, are people who are permanent residents or gain citizenship eligible for the Whitley Award? Yes, and so I should mention that we do have our full eligibility criteria on our website. So I've only rushed on the main points in my presentation. So we're looking for mid-career conservationists, so 10 to 15 years of experience, but also in-country locals, nationals. However, if you are not national to the particular country, but you have nationalized in that said country because you've lived there for you know, over a number of years, please do get in touch, and you're also eligible to apply, and that's a bit more on a case-by-case basis. And I would say if you lived in a country for, you know, at least 10 years plus, you are still eligible for the Whitley Award. And here I'm going to take another question. This is in terms of how relevant is the section of key publications and notable awards in our application.
Recording in progress.
I would say that all the questions in the application are relevant. There is a reason why you know, where we're asking these questions. However, we don't put specific weight on you know, any one question. I think it just gives us a better, it paints a better picture for us to understand the type of work that you've done. Certainly we understand a lot of on the ground leaders don't you know, pursue the publishing world, and so again, it's not a priority. However, it is, I think for us, we do encourage some publications and kind of at least being open to the concept of you know, it may not have to be in you know, the renowned publications, but even gray literature, or just publishing guidebooks, or kind of informal information. So some sort of dissemination of your data and sharing the knowledge, I think, is the important part for us. And here is a question, I think more broadly for the other programs as well. Is Cuba off limits for any of these programs, as there are lots of young Cuban conservationists working under severe resource restraints? That is very true. And I would say it certainly do get in touch with us if you are interested in looking to apply, if you are based in Cuba. But I'm going to hand this over to WCN or CLP?
For us, Fernando, no, Cuba is not off limits at all. We'd be happy to work. If you have any NGOs, please reach out to me or individual conservationists. And then I'll just quickly answer. Arno asked a question about how to become a WCN partner. And then Christina, you could respond to the Cuba question too. So that to become a WCN partner, it's a bit of a process of getting to know us first, sharing a lot of your programmatic reports, your financial reports first. And then we actually have you be a guest speaker at one of our expos at first to get to know your organization and to share with our partner network. And then after that, it's a longer process of probably visiting your site to become an official partner.
Thanks, Tommy. We are actually at time for a break, so I'd be happy to respond to the question about Cuba and our sanctions offline. So please feel free to reach out to me if you would like to discuss that. And for now, thank you, Tommy, Janice. We heard from our first 3 programs. We're going to take a 5-minute break. And when we come back, we will hear from our remaining 3 programs, have more time for Q&A and discussion. So now's your time to get a glass of water, do some stretching, and we'll see you back here in 5 minutes, which according to my clock, it would be about 50, 10, 50, 49 for being precise. So see you back here in a few minutes. And thanks, everybody. I see some people posting comments, questions in the chat. Feel free to keep doing so. If you would also like to share links to your organization where you work so other people can check them out, please feel free to do that too. And let's see, Elizabeth, I can't see you on my screen, but it doesn't mean you're not there.
I'm here.
Here.
I'm here.
Oh, you're here. There you are.
Yeah.
And we can get started whenever you're ready.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Let me share my screen here. Let's see. Okay. Can everybody see that okay? All right. Wonderful. Okay. I am Elizabeth Stevenson. I'm the director of the Marine Conservation Action Fund at the New England Aquarium. And a fun fact about me is I did my master's research on intertidal crabs and did a tagging study on them once and managed to super glue my finger to a crab I was tagging. So obviously I was able to free the crab, but that was one of my fun field stories. So it's a great pleasure to be here with you today. I have a fantastic job, as all my colleagues here probably feel the same way, I'm sure, of working with incredibly inspiring people like yourselves. Some from the MCAF community are here today from all over the world. So the Marine Conservation Action Fund is a microgranting and fellowship program focused on ocean conservation in low and middle income countries. And since 1999, we've funded over 180 projects in over 60 countries. And as you can see here, we are very much a global program. In our history, we did fund projects all over the world, but in the last decade, we have focused exclusively on low and middle income countries because that's where the majority of the world's coastlines are, as well as the world's greatest ocean biodiversity, and yet has the fewest financial resources for ocean conservation. Now, the program has evolved in other ways. We started out really focusing on rapid turnaround funding for urgent projects and seed funding. So we'd fund a project once to help launch it. But we've been incredibly fortunate to learn from the amazing leaders and projects that we've supported over the years that has really informed our approach to focus more on long-term conservation, noting how long it takes to achieve conservation outcomes and how the project leaders need to be in it for the long haul, and so do we. And also noting that projects need to be holistic and community-based, involve stakeholders. So that really has influenced our focus. And also our vision, which is a healthy, vibrant, and prosperous ocean stewarded by local conservation leaders with their communities for generations to come. And so we strive to support the long-term success, influence, and resilience of local conservation leaders, the health and sustainability of their organizations, and their impact on the next generation of ocean leaders. And strategies for doing this, we have a small grants program, we have a fellowship program, we provide professional technical support and mentoring. We also promote the work of our grantees and fellows through our public platform. We build enduring relationships and a global community. And so as far as our granting program, we support science and community-based ocean conservation projects that take a multifaceted and long view approach. So, applied conservation, working with stakeholders in addition to doing science. Examples of recently funded projects are the status and conservation of sharks and rays in Ghana by Isa Seydu, who is with us today. Hi, Isa. Conserving vulnerable inshore dolphin populations in the Aquarium Delta in Papua New Guinea by Jacinta Jonathan, and examining the causes and conflicts for the sustainable conservation and management of billfish in Kenya by Sarah Otter, led by Sarah Otter and Dr. Nelly Kadagi. So the process and criteria for our small grants, we have rolling deadlines. We generally make decisions in 4 to 8 weeks. We can turn money around in a matter of a couple of days if the project is urgent. We give awards up to $10,000. We issue 10 to 14 grants per year, so we're quite small. And we provide a lot of personalized attention through the application process. So we don't field a lot of proposals so that we can provide that individual attention throughout the review process. We fund new projects, emergency grants, and provide follow-on funding for projects. We focus on projects that focus on the conservation of imperiled marine species, projects that are working towards solutions with local communities, and those that build capacity for conservation. As of 2021, new project leaders need to be nationals of the lower middle income country where the work is taking place, because that is a strong focus, as with a number of these other programs, on supporting local leadership. So the way you reach out if you have an interest in funding is you would send an inquiry to me at my email address there, and then successful inquiries are invited for full proposals. So we also have a fellowship program through which we're developing long-term relationships and making long-term investments with proven conservation leaders to help them catalyze lasting conservation outcomes. And the program offers, currently we have 12 fellows. We offer ongoing funding opportunities for a variety, in a variety of ways. We create a supportive learning community. We promote collaboration with other fellows and grantees and aquarium staff and scientists. We promote fellows' work on our public platforms. We have in-person fellow summits with supplemented by virtual gatherings, and we provide individualized attention and support. And lastly, our fellows really serve as our best advisors for the program, the program's development. So we are looking for folks that are proven visionary and collaborative leaders pursuing systemic and community-based strategies to achieve lasting conservation outcomes, and those who have a demonstrated commitment to training and mentoring the next generation of ocean leaders. And we're really focused on mid-career nationals of low and middle income countries. We are doing our first open call. Before it was by invitation only, but we're doing our first open call for applications in the first half of 2022. It's our first time doing it, so we need a little runway to get that started, but please stay tuned to our Facebook page, which is linked in the PDF you'll be receiving. Some of the key outcomes we have that have come from our the amazing people that we have helped to support: marine protected areas, new conservation measures, animals rescued, rehabilitated, and protected from poaching and predation, greater community engagement, training, inspiring, and empowering new ocean stewards and leaders, new connections and collaborations, and new funding to advance further work. So please get in touch if you have any questions. Our website is shown there, and if you want to take a look at our example projects, looking at our interactive map, which is on our webpage, as well as our blog, will show you some projects that we funded recently. So with that, I think I am just a little bit over time, but I'll stop there and look forward to chatting with you in the Q&A and then in the breakout room. Thank you.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Great. We will move on to our next presenter. Nancy, over to you. Oh, Nancy, we can't hear your audio yet. We can start to see your
I'm
slides.
sorry about that.
There we
Can
go.
can you see my slides?
We see them, but they're not in presentation mode yet. There we go.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so hi, sorry about that. I'm Nancy Gellman, and I'm with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service International Affairs, and I'm excited to talk to you about our mentor programs, which is about team training for Africa's emerging conservation leaders. So Fish and Wildlife, our mission is to work with others to conserve, protect, and enhance fish, wildlife, plants, and their habitat for the continuing benefit of the American people. And Fish and Wildlife actually administers over 1 billion acres of land and waters, which is the largest of any agency in the world. And you might know some of our Office of Law Enforcement attaches who are based in agencies, and the fact that Fish and Wildlife funds in more than 75 countries around the world. And another program that you might be familiar with is our species conservation funds, as well as our regional funds. And Fish and Wildlife gives out about $40 million a year for our Rhino Tiger Fund, our Great Ape Fund, our Marine Turtle Fund, our Asian Elephant Fund, and our African Elephant Fund. But I'm really here to talk to you about our mentor programs, which is a really exciting program, fellowship program that builds these transdisciplinary teams of early career conservationists who work together to develop networks and to address threats to wildlife. And this photo is from a mentor forum that we did in Sierra Leone, bringing together selected fellows and mentors to focus on conservation leadership. So the mentor model is about developing competencies, and this is done over an 18-month period through academic and field-based training and professional placements, through mentoring, experiential learning. The fellows learn adaptive management, how to plan conservation projects, spend about 8 to 12 months implementing those projects. And Mentor was always designed to be a series of programs. So we have 7 programs. The first one that started in 2008 was on bushmeat in Eastern Africa. Mentor Forest was in Central Africa. Mentor Pace, protecting apes and conserving ecosystems, was in West Africa. Mentor Manatee in Central Africa. Mentor Pop, progress on pangolins, was in Central Africa. Mentor Fish is going on now in Central Africa, and Mentor Bushmeat. So in total, we've had 61 fellows from 11 different countries in these 7 different programs. And this map just shows you the different countries where the fellows have come from and when the different mentor programs were launched. So what's been really exciting about the mentor programs are the different partners that have been involved, the implementing partners, which are from NGOs, from governments, from universities. And I also wanted to show you this slide because one of our programs, Mentor Bushmeat, was launched during COVID. And so it had to be safe for the different fellows to come to Cameroon to participate. So here's a photo of them. And I also wanted to highlight some of the success stories of our mentor programs. This is a picture of Carla Louise Moussat, who's from Gabon, as you can see. And even though with Mentor, she was focused on pangolins, now she's really become an expert on CITES and represents the government of Gabon at the site at the CITES COPs conferences. And this is Jerry Mbai Krinsky, who before the mentor program really wanted to be a conservator of a national park, and afterwards became the conservator of Kimifunga National Park in Cameroon, and is currently the conservator of Takamanga, where the Cross River gorillas are. And this is Vincent Opiene, who was in our first mentor program, who established his own NGO in Uganda, the Natural Resource Conservation Network. And he has really changed how wildlife law enforcement is done in Uganda by prosecuting cases on behalf of the government. So I wanted to share with you, even though Mentor has really focused on different wildlife and different threats in Africa, we're really interested in expanding the model to threats to wildlife species in more regions. So I really wanted to take this opportunity to share our mentor program with you and to say thank you for participating, and also to say thank you to our amazing fellows. We're so proud of you for the work that you're doing and for your contribution to wildlife conservation. So thank you, and sorry for my technical difficulties.
Not a problem. Thank you very much, Nancy. Okay, and we're going to go to our last program presentation for the session, and I'm going to hand it over to Nina.
Hi, are you seeing my screen all right? Get a thumbs up. Yeah, awesome. So hi everyone, my name is Nina Hamilton and I'm the manager of international programs at an EE 30 under 30 at the North American Association for Environmental Education, which we also call NAAEE. And you may hear me say EE instead of environmental education, so you know what I'm referring to. My fun fact demonstrates what a small world this is. I actually worked with Alex in Gabon for my master's project a few years ago. So it's really awesome to see some familiar faces here, seeing everything connect. I'm here representing NAAE, and our mission is really all around advancing environmental literacy and civic engagement through the power of education. And we don't solely focus on conservation. We focus on all aspects of the environment and sustainability. But I think there's a lot of resources and programs we have that would be relevant to the conservation folks who are here today. And despite our name, we do have a global reach with many of our programs and our resources that I'll share here. So I'm going to quickly share some leadership opportunities we have, some of our networks, and also several resources that I think would be of interest to you all. So first, our youth leadership focus. As I said in my title, EE 30 under 30 is our youth leadership program, where each year we recognize 30 leaders under the age of 30 who are using environmental education, who are showing leadership through environmental education. And this is all part of our goal to support, mentor, and empower the newest generation of sustainability leaders and showing the power that education has in sustainability. And so this program is open to nominees of any country. Really, the only eligibility is that you have to be under the age of 30 and you have to be using environmental education. You have to already be demonstrating leadership in EE. And we really aim to recognize leadership of all kinds. We don't have a definition of leadership that we ask you to fit yourself into. We ask you to tell us why you think you are a leader in this space. So call for nominations open up in the spring, and you can sign up to receive updates on our website here. This is just really quickly about our approach. We offer a lot of support for our awardees year round. It's not just about recognition, but we're also cultivating an alumni community. And it is a global program. So we currently have 180 alumni from 40 countries. They're reaching almost 1 million people a year. So I really hope some of you here are inclined to apply next year. And like I said, go to our website here to sign up for updates. Another opportunity that we have going on right now is the Youth Innovation Challenge. And so with this challenge, we're inviting anyone aged 15 to 30, again, a youth leadership focused program from anywhere in the world to propose solutions to marine litter and climate change. And your solution must incorporate environmental education. And we will be awarding 3 $1,000 awards, so to the top 3 solutions. So I really encourage you to spread the word about this opportunity, submit your solution if you're eligible, and you could be competing for a $1,000 prize to kickstart your idea. On to some of our networks that I think you might be interested in joining. If you are not under 30, don't worry, we've got plenty for you as well. The Global Environmental Education Partnership is kind of our global network where we are putting together resources and convenings to connect people globally working on environmental education. And so I encourage you to look at our website. We have a ton of resources on there. We have case studies showcasing effective environmental education practice in many different contexts. We also have a newsletter that you can sign up for. And the link will be in the PDF that Christina shares after the session. And also coming up this November 30th to December 2nd, we will have a free virtual EE forum on environmental education. So the focus is on the Asia Pacific region, but anyone can join. We will be really diving into some key issues of environmental education and how to improve our environmental education practice, focusing on the most pertinent issues in the Asia Pacific region. And so you can sign up for updates through our newsletter to learn more about that. Another network that we have is our online, we kind of call our like LinkedIn for environmental education. It is free to create an account on EE Pro, which is our professional development hub for EE. We have groups that you can join on different topics. We have a job board. You can connect with individual people. We share opportunities, resources, webinars. There's so much on this site. I really encourage you to take a look. Whether you're experienced with the EE or whether you're new to it and just looking how to improve your practice, there's so much on here. I really encourage you to take a look. And so, like I said, there's groups on all different topics, so you can connect with people with similar interests to you. We also have tons of free webinars that are all archived on our site. And then I'm going to share just a couple more resources. We have some toolkits that we have lots of toolkits, but a couple that I think will be particularly relevant to folks in conservation. We have our guidelines for excellence on community engagement. So these guidelines for excellence are our kind of what we consider the gold standard for environmental education. This is a really practical toolkit. It gives you kind of a step-by-step of different important elements of community engagement. And then tools of engagement is a resource specifically for conservation. And again, it's very practical. You'll see different templates that you can use to work through different elements of your program. So both of these will be linked in the summary that Christina shares with you after this. And finally, I think this is my last, yes, this is the last one. This is a new resource that we just recently put out called EE Works. And so the goal of this program, this initiative, is to demonstrate the impact and value of EE, because when it comes to education, it can be such a long-term thing, and it can be hard to communicate the value and the outcomes and impacts of environmental education. So we just recently put out a resource specifically on the impact of EE on conservation and environmental quality. So if you are looking for any support, if you're trying to figure out how to communicate the role that EE can play in your work, or if you're figuring out how to communicate the impact of EE to maybe potential funders for your work, I really encourage you to take a look here. There's some specific findings, some communication tools you can use. You can also dive into the research. And yeah, that is really, really quickly just a few things we have. We also have some leadership programs that are opportunities that are focused on folks over 30. And so if you have any interest in diving more into EE, please reach out. I'm happy to connect you with the resources or networks that we have.
Thank you, Nina. So many resources. I learned a lot. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you, Nina, Nancy, and Elizabeth. So we have time now for 1 or 2 questions before we go to breakout rooms, and you'll have a chance to ask any more questions there. But on Janice, are you seeing anything in the chat?
So as Christina said, feel free to post your questions now. I have a couple, I guess, from the previous round that might be relevant. So there was a comment about a group producing honey, and then they're looking for assistance to connect them to market and the access to market, and whether or not any of our organizations are able to help. Wondering if someone wanna address that question. So I guess the most maybe the most useful way to approach this is to look for specific funding that are focused on, like, again, a smaller grant, for example, in your home country, and inquire about supporting your overall project, which will include getting market access.
Thanks, Janice. And if anybody on this call has a resource or a recommendation that they can provide to help orient this request, then please do put it in the chat.
There was another question about funding in Massachusetts specifically, and less so from the Whitley Fund for Nature, but perhaps a couple of the other organizations.
I would guess that probably the education resources that Nina was sharing about, are relevant to a global audience. And then anyone on this call, if you work in the US, if you work in Massachusetts, tell everybody what resources you can share. I know CLP is a global program, international program, so unfortunately not a fit, but I'm sure there's a lot of knowledge in the group.
And I don't see any other questions at the moment. So if anyone wants to inquire, please do so now.
Okay. If there are no other questions right now, then we're going to give you the chance to join a breakout room where you can ask a program specific question if you have one. And if not, we have a discussion prompt for you. I'm going to start sharing my screen and hand it over to my colleague, Kate Mastro, who's going to talk us through what we can discuss. So hopefully you can see this slide.
Thank you, Christina. Hi, everyone. What great information is being shared. I'm so happy to see so many folks online. So yeah, as Christina said, the breakout rooms are a chance to follow up with any of the programs that you'd like to learn more information about. You can ask specific questions that maybe you didn't get a chance to ask in the chat. And it's also a chance to network with folks that are also involved and interested in similar topics or thematic areas. Also, since this is put on by CLCP, the Conservation Leadership Community of Practice, we also hope that you'll help us figure out how fellowship programs can support you in your work and your career. So as Christina has here on the slide, you'll introduce yourself in the chat, name, country, thematic area, email. I think we're having 15 minutes for the chat, for the breakout rooms.
Yeah, we're gonna do like 12. Yeah.
12 minutes for the breakout rooms. Okay. So Christina's gonna open them up.
Okay, so in a minute, you're gonna see something pop up on your screen, and you'll be given the choice to join a breakout room based on the name of the program. So join whichever room you would like to be a part of. You can pick any one of them, that's fine. And then we'll be there to host a conversation with you. So let's see. This is my first time experimenting with this opt-in for Zoom, so fingers crossed. Here we go. I'm gonna open up the rooms.
It'll work out.
Is everybody seeing something to pop
Down
into
at the
a
bottom.
room?
Yep, join a breakout room. See you all back here.
See you back here soon.
I'm not seeing the prompt for the breakout room.
I'm not seeing it either, Elizabeth. This is Nancy.
Hi,
Hi.
left out here.
Yeah.
Christina, yeah, maybe you can explain it one more time.
Sorry. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, here it is down here. Right. Sorry. Totally
I
forgot.
don't know. Where is it, Elizabeth?
Down at the bottom, it says breakout rooms, the little squares. And so then you pick yours.
Oh, and you scroll over to the right-hand side of it. If you mouse over the number to the right of it, and the word join will appear.
I still don't have it. It might be the view. Hi. All right. Is anybody here for the Fish and Wildlife room? Or are you all still waiting to join a breakout room as well? Hi, everybody. Can somebody say hello? Do you see me?
Hello.
Hi. Okay. Well, I'm hoping this is the Fish and Wildlife breakout room. Did you guys join this breakout room? Or were you just waiting
Yes,
to join?
hi.
and got lost? Well, while we're figuring everything out, does anybody have any questions about the mentor program for me? Or about Fish and Wildlife? Francis, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
You're here. Okay, great. Well, I guess we can go ahead and see if anybody has any questions about Fish and Wildlife or about any of the presentations that you saw, or suggestions on how we can help you with fellowships. It's so nice to see so many familiar faces. Anyone want to bring up a question? Very nice to see so many of our fellows participating.
Exactly. The many of them.
Yes.
Some had difficulties with the connection.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I'm having technical difficulties.
Actually, I have a question. I'm not sure it's involved with the mentoring, but it's about you say that the mentoring is by now just for Africa, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Right now, but we're hoping to expand to other regions and work on other species and other threats to wildlife.
Okay.
So I wanted to share our experience from Africa. And we have a new book coming out about our mentor model, and we really are hoping to work in more regions. Any other questions or suggestions for us?
How many of us are in the room?
So we're trying to, one of my colleagues who all of the mentor fellows know, Heidi Ruffler, is trying to help us figure out how to get into the breakout rooms. But while you're here, any other, how do you think this is going? Are you learning a lot about the different types of fellowship programs?
Is that to me?
To everybody. There are who haven't been able to make it to the different breakout rooms.
I think Jonathan have a question.
Please.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. I just wanted to know who qualifies to apply for the mentor program. Since most of the applicants have to come from Africa. What qualifications? If there are any information, detailed information or links, that would be very great to get.
Yes. So the different mentor programs, because the US government, everything has to be done competitively. And so we put out a notice of funding opportunity, a NOFO, to announce the program. Universities can apply, NGOs can apply, governments can apply to work on the larger program. And then the whoever is hosting it puts out a call for fellowships. And we spend a lot of time on the fellowship selection process. We usually get at least 100 applications for about 8 to 10 spots. So it's very competitive, but once we have selected what region, what theme we're working on, our partner really tries to get out the opportunities. And Francis Tarla, who is, you might see his photo up, he's been a coordinator of 2 of our mentor programs and can tell you that you really try to get widespread information out about the programs.
And also perhaps to add that each program is fairly unique in its scope of fellows, and depending on the goal and objective we want to attain, we decide the profile of fellows, and that is in the proposal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the minimum experience of years that a fellow might be qualified to have to apply?
As I said, it depends on each. We have had programs in which they were master's students and they finished with a master's degree. We've had programs in which we had first degree holders, master's degree holders, and all was to build their skill and team spirit. So it depends on what the objective is that we define the profile of the fellows.
Okay, thank you.
But what is common with all of them is that it's a transdisciplinary kind of initiative. We have people from all kinds of walks of life, but who are interested in conservation. And what we do is that we bring them and develop them into a team to work for the benefit of conservation, either of a species or a set of species.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, both of you.
You're welcome.
So great.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question? Was that a question? Luke, were you asking a question?
No.
Okay, great. Well, has this been interesting so far to learn about the different fellowship programs? I've been learning a lot.
Yeah, it's very teaching.
Yeah, it's
informative.
To learn about different opportunities, and after this session, they're going to send around the information so you can really spend more time, I think. But the big thing is to go to the different websites of the organizations and to get more information about them.
Yeah, it was interesting to note that some of them mentioned mentor programs. I would like to know how they do their own mentoring. And
yeah. Great. Could we also maybe go around quickly and people can say what countries they're from and what organization? Francis, we know that you're in Maryland, but you've worked in Cameroon on on Mentor Pop and on Mentor Bushmeat. Can we go around and say, you introduce yourselves, somebody pop up? Andrea, I see you. Can you introduce yourself to everyone? You're on mute. Joe, can you introduce yourself? And say where you're from.
Okay.
And you?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm Jonas Kambale Nyumu. I'm from DRC, especially in Kisangani City. And I'm a Mentor Pop Fellows from the from 2017 in Cameroon. The Mentor Pop program took place in Cameroon, in Yaoundé. And nowadays, I'm working on bushmeat in Yangambi, and I'm working also in the project found by US Fish to build the capacity of the institution, especially of Taina Center for Conservation Biology in east of DRC in Goma.
Great, great. Andrea, can you get yourself off of mute and say hello? Oh, looks like folks are coming back.
Yeah, I don't know. That's such a shame.
Thank you, everyone.
Hi, everybody. I hope most of you were able to join a breakout room and have some more discussion with your programs. We hope that today's session has been valuable for you. As I said at the start, we will be sending you a follow-up email with a PDF that includes links, summary information, email addresses for all of the programs that spoke today. And we will send a link to this recording, which you can share with anyone that you like. You can share it widely so that other people can learn about these opportunities. So as I said again, there is a link to a survey in my email. We hope you will take just 5 minutes to let us know how this was for you, how we can improve, and also what we can do as fellowship programs to offer a better service, a better program for all of you here. So please take a few minutes to do that survey. It'll be in the email. All right, we are wrapping up. Before we close, can you put in the chat one thing you are taking away from today's session? What is one thing you are taking away or that you learned from our call? Oh, great. We have some contact information coming through. What did you learn? What program are you going to learn more about after our time together? Conservation networking, improved networking, great. Great. Lots of opportunities and chances to network. Didn't know that there were these programs. Very informative. So much community support. Wonderful. Ooh, learned about the Marine Conservation Action Fund. Yes. Well, we are so excited to hear from you with your follow-up questions. Please do reach out to us. And I would just like to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you to everyone who presented. And we are cheering you on for all of the conservation work that you are doing, and can't wait to stay in touch and hopefully have you join our networks if you are not part of our networks already. So with that, I will say thank you, and enjoy the rest of your days. And hope to be in touch with you soon.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. If you want to, feel free to come off mute to say goodbye.
Bye. Thanks a lot.
Bye, and thank you. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.